Can you guess what we're going to talk about? Pichan! So I feel like I always talk about the intro every time because they do something cute and catchy and I love it. I love the video game thing. It's so funny that I was talking about the video games last time in my last episode and now it's like in this episode. Like, what are the odds? Yeah, crazy. So I love the 8-bit style, sort of that like Super Nintendo kind of thing. I love that they had everybody's stages. So like Genma would obviously be the springs because it's his fault with the whole thing with Ranma and him. And like Kuno's would obviously be the school because he thinks he's like king of the school. Is ridiculous. I mean, I guess some other people think he is too. Um, and I love that they tell the story, like the intro story with Akane and Ranma is really cute. And then they show them in front of the house and he's like, ah. And then what's really cool is the background running, like the logos with the blue, is very reminiscent of one of the games. I'm going to put in a photo here with as many other photos as I can get a hold of. Will be really cute. But yeah, super happy about that. Really amazing that they're drawing on little things. And like the style is really cool. I love how many times they try and pull in older like things to make you reminisce is really great. And also it's a smart monetary callback because hopefully people will go and try and repurchase the gaming things or try and find it somewhere. It's actually really, really smart, like business move. First thing with the boar coming in, really cool countryside shot before, very watercolors, idealistic, calm, serene. And then the boar thing comes in and it's manga and it's edgy and it's flat and there's pointillism and like the hard flat coloration and outlines and the shading, just very angular and angry and very, very smart juxtaposition. Love it. We meet a main character here, or like to me, a main character here. We meet Ryoga. He is in love with Akane. You'll find out later. He's fighting off this boar for the town. It shows he's very strong. He fights off by just like pinning it with the umbrella basically by the nose, and with basically one move flips it in the air, and you can see the scale of the boar behind him, like massive, implying his strength and this and that. He's very stoic in this shot. He's usually not a stoic character, but he's very serious. His whole thing is he always feels like Rama's running from him because he wants to avoid him to not fight him. But in actuality, for someone who's so coordinated, like bodily, he's always lost. And when he walks away after asking these people in the countryside, is Furiken Heinir here? Like, obviously not. Obviously it's not here. Like, why? What? And they're like, oh, he's a lost guy. Yeah, he is. They actually did a tote bag a few years back, a Ryoga tote bag. I've been looking for, it's hard to find. That's not like insanely overpriced. And it says, where am I? It's black with yellow writing. It's very cute. I'll put it in. 100% Ryoga. So the next scene is something's going on where you see Ranma running around basically almost naked as a girl, and they're trying to get him to get dressed. It's raining outside, so I assume it has something to do with that. I don't know why he didn't just take a bath, whatever. And the girls are trying to dress him. I don't know if it's one of those things where they're just like, ooh, let's dress him up in our clothes, like little girls do kind of thing. And they finally get a hold of him and they grab him and they dress him up. And then there's this artistic shot where like they put him in a very early 90s with like a little bit of neon influence, which was early 90s, also late 80s, and like geometric shape. Think like 7-Up and Sprite commercials. I think it's actually Sprite commercials in the early 90s if you're Canadian or North American, or if you remember any of that where like a lot of angularity, a lot of that sort of thing. You know what's a better reference? Saved by the Bell, the TV show. That like weird geometric, I don't know. I don't really get it. Anyhow, that's the style. And neon, and they show her and it's very angular. It's cute, it's flat, it's conveys what they're trying to emote artistically, which is really great. They pan to Ryoga. He's talking to some guy with his cows in the countryside. So I already have an inkling of where I think this is, because Hokkaido regionally is known for their dairy. It's like northern region. And they're like, Furiken hi, you're in Hokkaido, dude. So, yeah. So Ryoga finally gets to the school, but he doesn't really realize he's at the school. He's standing in like kind of the archway of the entrance with the wall and whatever, and he grabs the first student he sees and he goes, I'm looking for Furiken High. And the guy's like, and he literally points to the sign on the wall saying where he is. And this is totally typical of Ryoga, and he's like always a little lost and confused, and it's just endearing and silly and sweet. And yeah, throughout the show you'll see things that happens and situations he gets into because of it. It's so good. So the next thing Ryoga asks is, do you know where Rama Saotome is? And then Rama ends up at school really soon after. He said something annoying to Akane. He jumps through the air. He gets like this, oh, what's happening? And it's Ryoga coming down on him with the umbrella. He loves to fight with his umbrella. And Ryoga, turns out, talks to Rama. Rama's like, not really sure who he is. This is also a common theme from the original manga/anime. And apparently they went to the same high school and they were supposed to fight. And Ryoga's like, why didn't you show? And Rama's like, I was there. I waited for 3 days. And Ryoga's like, I showed up on the 4th. And then Rama's like, but you're like 500 meters basically from the fight battleground. Is like from your house. So why? And then Ryoga lists all the places he looked for him. And it's like all these places that make no sense. So it's just like, what? What? And like that's legitimate for Ryoga because his spatial awareness is all like messed up. So like of course he would check everywhere, even though that's not where they agreed to. And I'm sure Ryoga set the terms because he usually does. So I also like artistically when they show Ryoga going to these places looking for him, he looks kind of derpy the way they drew him, because it must feel really weird because like for him to go to places and be like, am I here or is this person here to random people? They're just like, what? Are you serious? So Ryoga basically says he wants revenge and that he wants to ruin Rama's happiness. And Rama's not really sure if he's happy. So, what you gonna ruin? What you going after? So then it cuts to a beautiful sunset and a beautiful forest shot. Very evening light, warm, rich, like amazing juxtaposition when Ranma was reflecting on whether or not he's happy, and it was very flat and like forced rosy where there's no warmth to it. It's like flat and a gray tone pastel, almost like very muted. And I like how the emotion and the feeling like works very well for those shots artistically. The shots with the sunset that are warm toned echoes the fire basically that Ryoga feels, and you see that he's actually the one walking through the forest. This is Ryoga's point of view. So it's fiery and warm and velvety almost compared to the flat, one-dimensional uncertainty of Rama's self-reflection on his emotional state per happiness. So Ranma and Akane get home, and it's dinner time, and they're in the common room, and for whatever reason, Rama's a girl, and he's fighting Genma, who's a panda, over his sausage, chopsticks, kung fu, really angular, funny, slapsticky, warm color. Love it. And then Katsumi's like, oh, you left this on top of your miso. And it's the like declaration of war, basically, a letter from Ryoga, and that's basically how Rama treats it, like whatever. And then he talks about what he said the revenge is, and how like their first day of school at this all boys school, and like lunch was like a battlefield kind of thing, and he stole the first curry bun, and then everybody's like, really? Like, that's it? And they do show a shot of like the mania, and the mania is conveyed with like this dark color with juxtaposition of the cherry blossoms and the lightness of the school, and a little bit like hazy, soft looking. And then he's like, yeah, And then he like reflects on it a little bit, and you realize that he does this like every day. So like I don't know if Ryoga's not eating or if they're all not eating and everybody secretly hates Rama, but they show all these different things like a sandwich, the curry bun, and like all these items flying and multiple ways where Ranma gets to it before everybody else. So I mean, I love food too. So I'd be pretty mad. Poor Ryoga. So every time Rama steals somebody's food or gets in the way, it's always Ryoga, and he always kicks him, and it's done very flat anime style, and Ryoga kind of looks humiliated, defeated, and Rama just looks like effortlessly like no big deal. After recounting this to everybody, Akane opens the letter and she's like, hey, like the date has passed. And he's like, oh, it's no big deal. It'll take him forever to get there. It's no big deal at all. And then they show poor Ryoga. It's evening again. And who knows if it was yesterday or if it was tonight because it's evening there now kind of thing. Asking someone where Tokyo is. And the guy's like, what? And like then they show him walking off in the sunset, lost again. Very beautiful shot, cool tones, tree outlines, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But like, poor Ryoga, he looks like an old cowboy walking off into the sunset. So it's battle day. It is a week from when Rama had the sausage fight with his dad. That sounded horrible. There's no one. Anyhow, you know what I meant. And everybody at school is really excited about it. So the news crew, the people who are doing the interview, when they found out in that other episode in the hallway that Rama and Akane were engaged, are there, and everybody's kind of like on bated breath. It's in what appears to be like tennis courts or something like that. It's on school grounds. I'm excited. So before the battle starts, what happens? Ryoga's ready. He's like, let's do this. Like, that whole deal. You can't hide from me, blah, blah, blah. Ridiculous. And Rama's like, okay, I'm not here to fight. He pulls out his bag, like his classic Japanese school bag of that era. And, well, the gym bag one. And he's like, let bygones be bygones. So what does he mean? He pulls out a curry bun and throws it at him. And you can tell that this infuriates Ryoga, that it's not the point. And then he can see, Rama sees that. So then he's like, okay, don't be greedy kind of thing. And throws more at him. The yakisoba thing, so on and so forth. And all these little food things are flying through the air. And as it's happening, the shot that they're showing is very manga-y. They flattened it out. They did all the dots, the pointillism. It becomes very like jokey, obviously, because it's no big deal to Rama. He's just like trying to brush it off. And this is like burning Ryoga on the inside. So the fight gets really good. And in all the dramatic fight moments, it gets really flat, the coloration, which is good. I like that they went with the purple again here for the shading instead of that weirdness with the green that one time with Kuno. I don't know, whatever. So Ryoga's fighting, very serious, and Rama's like how he always is just like evasive moves, not getting involved. And you can tell Ryoga's getting more and more aggravated, and his moves are getting more aggressive. He brings in the umbrella, which does this move that's kind of like a spinning saw blade kind of deal, which we saw earlier in the episode. And he does this other move where he takes off a bandana. He's got like wraps, bandana, and he grabs him by the wrist, so he stops evading him. So because they're tied together, they actually have to fight. And they go to fight, and they lock leg to leg, and you think it's going to get all serious? And Rama's like, wow, how many bandanas are you wearing? And it makes Ryoga more angry. The commentator goes to pick up Ryoga's umbrella. It turns out it's incredibly heavy. So much so that he can't even begin to lift it. Akane comes over, tries to lift it, and warns Rama that he should watch out because if Ryoga gets his hands on him, he's done. So what happens in this moment? There's a dramatic shot. They're close together. They're still tied together. Ryoga goes to punch him. Rama barely evades it, gets cut, and then we have that classic Bruce Lee, like, kind of thing. It's cute. It's very cute. So Rama does what he always does. Somehow he manages to continuously evade, and then he does this crazy rotational move and has Ryoga in what looks like it's done, right? And what happens? Ryoga does an insane display of strength and gets out of it sort of by lifting both of them. Really great dramatic moment. Ryoga makes contact with Rama's chest with the umbrella and cuts his shirt. And then Rama makes a comment about a shirt. Ryoga basically implies that he's a girl, and then that really makes Rama angry, and he goes after him. He goes after him, punches him into a water fountain, more or less, and it explodes, and then he turns into a girl, right? He chases Ryoga. Ryoga doesn't really understand. He's distracted because, like, he's showing full underboob, basically, and he doesn't really understand what's going on. Akane comes, and they figure it out. So what do you think's gonna happen? Ryoga still wants to fight. He pulls out a million more bandanas. How many bandanas does he have? And then the fight keeps going. And the newscaster club keep coming. It's a little weird that he still wants to fight. It seems a little underhanded, but whatever. I guess it's because to him it doesn't matter that Rama turns into a girl, it's still a guy, because later there will be the Pichon reveal that he has the same problem and he turns into a pig. So it feels like even footing. And if he had to fight a tiny little black pop belly pig, that wouldn't really work out for him. So again, all the bandanas come out. It's like blades flying through the air, and Akane runs away to evade it. She trips over a tree root. She falls. Rama, still female mode, runs, grabs Ryoga's umbrella, scoops her up and guards her and jumps into the air. And the newscaster, everybody's like, whoa, because they know how much that weighed and they had no idea. And even as a girl with a more slight body and lesser muscle mass, because the size difference is like insane between the two, male and female, they're completely blown away. So Ryoga pursues, right? And Akane and Ranma are on the rooftop of the bike rack, and he got her away so she wouldn't get hurt. And he's mad that she interfered, and he's mad that he doesn't understand why she interfered. And then Ryoga comes and he's like chopping at the awning that they're on. They basically jump away again, and Ryoga pursues some more. And in jumping through the air, Rama basically calls her an idiot, and she wells up and is like, okay, if you don't want me to care and you're gonna act like this, then so be it. Rama is shocked by Akane literally being brought to tears for being called stupid, because he doesn't understand why she does what she does, and he sees that he hurt her. It resonates. So she walks away, and Ryoga's still pursuing. Bandana's flying, bandana blades, and he kicks one away and it flies off, and Rama turns to Akane and is trying to get her to talk to him, and she turns around to respond, and her hair flicks, like a full-on hair flick, like the whole thing. That's how fast she turned around. And as she rotates, the bandana comes along and just like, and what ends up happening is you see her like this after, with just the strands in the front. And it's really interesting because the choice here is like a sunset scene, and the sunset is literally setting on how she feels about this. Like, she's done, she's over it, leave me alone. Like, this is a waste of time. Like, why am I bothering with him? He doesn't appreciate, he doesn't whatever. It's great that the background reflects what's happening, and the coloration does too. And the cut is so dramatic to her hair, and they slow it down and they pause it in the audio. It's so good, and it's such an iconic scene in the original show. Fantastic. Really, really great how they did it. And that it ends on that, that's a real cliffhanger. Because what is she gonna do? Is she gonna freak out? Is she gonna attack Ryoga? Is Rama gonna have to defend her? Is Rama gonna attack Ryoga? Is Ryoga gonna cry? Because he's actually like a really like soft person ordinarily, or at least it was before. So is that going to be what he's like? Because so far they're not conveying anything about that about him. So I guess we'll have to see. Really great episode, beautifully, artistically, really some really great choices. The content, I don't like, this is totally what is to happen. I don't like how they convey Ryoga here. There's not enough of him here for me to thoroughly enjoy this episode. It doesn't show the nuance of his character. That's cool. They were just lining everything up for this last scene, which I totally get. It's a heavy hitter. Honestly, it really just makes me want to watch the next episode the way that they left it. because I want to see the bits of Ryoga I know, and I want to see Shampoo, and I want to see Moose, and I want to see all the other stuff. Artistically, again, beautiful episode, but I don't know. So if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you absolutely loved what you saw, I have a Patreon with its own little bibs and bobs and behind the scenes and all that jazz. Head over there, and I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely week, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Baba, don't do that. You see what's happening here? This thing is making all sorts of noise, knocking cameras over. It's crazy. She's so sleepy. She's like, why? 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 Yeah, sleepy baby. Okay.